Breakfast with Vossy and Brandy. It is Maddie Russell as co-host today, Tuesday. My maths, 5 sleeps to go until Vegas on Sunday. And, of course, your local clubs all around it. It's going to be huge. SEN all over it. Fox League all over it. 10 hours coverage. It's just amazing. And the halo effect. And for the first time ever, Super League, first time ever women's test. So much to talk about. The billboards have been unveiled in Vegas of rugby league. Get your footy fix. They're appealing to the locals that the football season's over there, the NFL. Now you can come and watch a different football. And the Steeden. I can't wait to get there to take the photo of the Steeden on the billboard. Is there with the stars and stripes either end of the ball. How good's that?
Steve Mascord, great rugby league man, as you touched on. He sent that photo to you. Did you ever think you'd see a billboard in Vegas with a Steeden?
Well, last year, just so you know, so where they stayed, they did a great deal with Resorts World. Now, Resorts World is basically 3 hotels in one. It's about 3,000 hotel rooms, three hotels in one. On the building, which would be 50 floors high, they had imagery running all day of a rotating thing, but up would come a rugby league ad with action. Seeing Moses Leota taking a hit up on a 50-floor building, I watched. It's a pinch me moment. You go, bloody hell! What have they pulled off here, Volandis and his mob? That's rugby league action on the side of a building on the Strip in Vegas. So it does have a presence there. Albeit in a very busy city where a lot is happening. By the way, feedback to Vossy has been very positive. That's nice.
Yes.
Millencolin
they
hit a
are
nerve.
Flooding in, albeit in more Friday, for Pennywise and Millencolin.
Pennywise, excellent. Oh, I'll take some video for you.
There you go.
Jake, appreciate that. Can you do that for me, Jake? Because that would be fantastic. Don't think I've seen Millencolin since season 96 at the Manning Bar. Holy moly, JS. Morning, boys. How bloody good is it to hear Millencolin on SEN? Loving your taste in music. Thank you, Vossy, for playing Millencolin. Grew up in high school playing them all the time from the Rostog. So a lot of people, and Steve, he's come on board. What's he says? You legend, Millencolin, part of the soundtrack of my youth. Songs like No Cigar, right about now, Penguins and Polar Bears, just awesome.
Very, very positive. You know who also loves Millencolin?
He does, yeah, David
Riccio.
Man. Yeah.
Doctor, give me the news.
On Breakfast with Vossy and Brandy, the back page with David Riccio.
David Riccio likes 2 Swedish bands. One is Millencolin, the other's ABBA, which are very different. ABBA were Swedish, weren't they? David Riccio, good morning. Where do we find you? Yesterday was in a prison cell. Where do we find you today?
Yeah, no, I'm out. I was released without bail, so I'm all's well here in LA, guys. En route to Las Vegas, we must be saying Las Vegas. Traveling with the Cronulla Sharks, they are checking out of their team hotel in downtown Los Angeles within the next hour or so, and we'll be bound for Las Vegas and joining the 3 other NRL clubs already obviously established themselves there on the Strip. So, yeah, it's all been smooth sailing from the Cronulla Sharks' point of view, guys. They did complete those 2 training sessions at the USC, University of Southern California, and the prestigious grounds that they boast. And have got through unscathed to this point in time. So on a flight to Las Vegas we go.
Can you confirm or deny that Craig Fitzgibbon has had to sit the players down and basically say, boys, inflatables are banned?
Yeah.
No inflatables.
Certainly that discussion would be coming. And I'm not even joking. I reckon Fitzy will have a chat to the players now because they've been in their own little Los Angeles bubble, just going about their work and soaking in some of the sights, but also getting down to some business as far as training is concerned. When they get to Las Vegas, it's a completely different story. And what I mean by that is the eyes of the rugby league world are on these players, and we'll get to the obvious story in a moment. But for the Sharks, I'm sure Fitzy will be talking to them about their responsibilities and their focus on this match, given that once you walk into the main hotel where the clubs are residing, not only are rival players, coaches, staff there, but NRL executives, player managers, media. We're all staying there, the journos. So it's about it goes up a notch big time once these teams get to Las Vegas, and that's something the Sharks will need to adjust to and adjust to quickly.
Dave, you're referring to this stink between Hudson Young, Morgan Smithies. Room wasn't available, so one wants to sleep with the other in the bed, we read. The other takes objection. Fists fly. Inflatable baseball bats fly. I'm not an apologist for rugby league players, and I know they're there to represent the Raiders and the NRL and Australia, but this isn't a big story, or do you see it differently?
Well, it's definitely a story, Matty. But look, on what I will say, it's not the biggest crime in the world, right? It's not the biggest.
That's what I meant. It's not an atrocity.
It's not. It's not at all. However, and for everything I just spoke about, a minute or so ago about the spotlight that the game is wanting to put on rugby league it makes it a big story. And it makes it a major headline. We are just days out from the season opener, and given how much investment the NRL and these clubs are making to be part of something so special, it's a headline that will gain immediate traction and discussion, and it will raise debate, guys, on the behaviour of the players, but also to the experiment, this US Odyssey that the NRL on. In Las Vegas, where entertainment is at every turn, and the possibility of that going astray becomes a discussion. So, look, I will say this: how the Raiders have handled this is absolute outstanding crisis management. The two players were made to front the media at 8 a.m. local time in Las Vegas to explain their actions. The Raiders haven't run from this at all. They reported the incident to the NRL Integrity Unit immediately. And as I said, both Hudson Young and Morgan Smithies fronted the media and were more than explanatory about the situation and how it unfolded on the hotel floor in the early hours of Sunday morning.
So do we know what the punishment was or is, or has it been determined? Is there a monetary amount? Are we going to find that out, David? In this transparency world, do we actually find out a number on that?
Look, given the transparency that they've come forward at this point in time, I would be surprised that they don't come forward with an actual monetary fine and knowing what that figure is. I'd just be surprised if that's not the case. As I said, I think they've handled it pretty well so far. Both players will be available for selection. I know that. So I think we are looking at a fine in and around that penalty. So that's yet to be confirmed, and only time will tell. But I just, so many clubs would be ducking for cover. Putting out a two-line press statement. Nothing more to see here. We move on. But I like how the Raiders have handled this, including, Morgan Smithies has got a big black eye. It would be very much easier for not to show in front of the press and answer questions, but they did that.
Dave, your Cronulla Sharks, the team that you're travelling with, are they the last team to arrive in Vegas? Is that a calculated risk by Coach Fitzgibbon?
Oh, absolutely it is. There's no shadow of a doubt of that, Matty. They are the last team into Las Vegas, and it is a strategy that the Sharks have decided to take in the preparation for this, which goes back 6 months ago. They decided that 10 days in Las Vegas was too long to be prepping for this game, and wanted to break the trip up by spending 4 days in Los Angeles, both training and also, spending time together in a completely unique scenario. And this result of, we will not know until after the match. If the Sharks win, everyone will be saying they'd absolutely nailed it. If the Cronulla Sharks can go out and beat Penrith, we'll be talking about how they nailed their preparation. by not spending as much time in Las Vegas. If it goes the other way, well, obviously we'll have the opposing view. So there's no doubt in the world that this is a definite strategy used by the Sharks and used also too by the Roosters and Broncos last year, who were in LA. South Sydney were in San Diego, and Manly, who actually came out and performed well in round one, were the only team to reside in Las Vegas and prepare for the match well ahead of schedule last season.
Dave, Vossy touched on it earlier. Today is the first Teams Tuesday of the Premiership season. Now, feel free to comment on any of the 4 Vegas clubs, but specifically with the Sharks, the team you're with. Do we expect any curveballs when the team is announced this afternoon, or is there a storyline in there that's jumping off the page at you?
Yeah, look, just as far as the Sharks' injury concerns, 2 prominent players within their squad over the past 3 seasons, Toby Rudolph and Sione Katoa, they haven't come on this trip due to injury, so that they are both unavailable. Now, the Toby Rudolph one is clearly, that's been forecast for some time, underwent surgery. He's aiming for a round 3 to 4 return this season. Sione Katoa came as a blow, certainly in the days prior to flying out to the US for the Sharks. Sam Stonestreet, guys, the local junior from the Cronulla Sharks, will be named in replacement for Sione Katoa. I just think he's a wonderful story. When you put it into the context that Sam Stonestreet was 4 years of age when he started to sit on the hill at Shark Park and carried an autograph book around with him and still has that autograph book of Shark signatures. And here he is from the hill on Shark Park as a fan to be running out in front of 45,000 people at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. I think that's just a special story. And if nothing comes of this entire US Odyssey, there has to be kids sitting at home watching on Fox Sports, or potentially lucky enough to be in the stand, knowing a little bit about that backstory that Sam Stonestreet's gone from a fan on the hill to be running out in front of 45,000 at Allegiant Stadium. It's a pretty special story. Just to quickly touch on some other clubs. There's plenty of discussion around the Penrith halves in relation to Blaze Talangi or Jack Cole. The male is Jack Cole. Will partner Nathan Cleary in the halves. Some suggestions in and around a hamstring complaint for Brian To'o. Look, Penrith officials are saying he will be there at this stage. As the Raiders looking for a surprise here on the bench in Owen Paddy, a terrific young prospect as a hooker and dummy half for the Raiders. I expect him to earn his NRL debut from the Raiders bench at Allegiant Stadium. So a little bit of a snapshot there.
David, you just mentioned crowd number there, 45,000. Are you basing that on tickets sold and a little bit extra, or is there an anticipation that, the walk-up, roll-up, have they got any indicators there that can they crack 50,000 in Allegiant?
Yeah. The terminology coming out of the NRL, Vossy, is aiming for in excess of 45,000.
Right.
So there is. I think there's an anticipation that they could exceed the 45,000 mark.
Okay. All right. Well, it's hard. Look, I just know from personal experience last year, I was actually surprised by the number of, and they weren't necessarily expats. They were those that had come from other parts of America that may have a very distant link to Australia and the game of rugby league, but made this vigil. A lot of people just go to Vegas for the weekend and then work out what they're going to do on that weekend when they get there. And suddenly they channel through, rugby league? They mightn't. I doubt whether the Americans will go for all 4 games, but they'll say, women playing rugby, I'll go and have a look at that. That is likely. I'm not saying it's massive, but I'm saying there will be potentially a few thousand that do that are in Vegas looking for something to do, and part of their Saturday schedule will be duck into Allegiant, because Allegiants are pulling factor in itself, like a pulling power, because
Absolutely.
you want to go to Allegiant Stadium. You're going to Vegas, yeah. Well, what's on? Oh, okay, this is rugby league. Okay, I'll watch.
Well, that begs the question to Dave. Now, I know you've been in Los Angeles, not Las Vegas, but given your experience last year and this year, do the Yanks know anything more about rugby league this year than they did last year?
Well, I think certainly they do. Absolutely they do. And my understanding is that of that anticipated 45,000, around that number of crowd, 16,000 are from the US, coming in from different states for the game. Yep. So I think that's one indication. And certainly on the streets here in LA, Matty, the discussion from passerbys, people in the street asking the Sharks, what are you here for? I've heard about this game that you play in Australia, and really wanting to know more. And you can't want to know more if you don't have a presence, Matty. If you're not here, showcasing the colours, the logos, the brand, and that's what certainly from the Sharks' point of view, that's what they've been doing here. They've been, out and about. They haven't just gone training hotel room. They're out wearing their polo shirts, the NRL logo, and questions are definitely being asked. And the response is coming back. I've always been interested in watching that. So it's, as I said, you can't have a crack if you're not here on the ground trying as such, and that's certainly the case.
Vossy, I love a couple of the stories that Dave has flagged. Sam Stonestreet playing NRL game number 6 at Allegiant Stadium, and possibly Owen Paddy, an NRL debut at Allegiant Stadium. What about that?
Last one, David. Any update on Donald Trump? I'm just on Trump. Is there any? You would obviously be privy to any sort of conversation that was happening between Volanders and the president. Is there any progress been made?
Well, they haven't given up. They haven't given up. That's about as strong as I can get it, Vossy. They haven't given up on Mr. Trump being there. The mail is that Dana White will be there.
Yes.
Boss of the UFC. So, Trump, we wait and see.
Where we called from last year, I can tell you, I didn't see necessarily A-listers, as in celebrities, movie stars, rock stars. In the box next door, though, was Lachlan Murdoch and Jamie Packer, to where we called. They were right there. And I'd never seen better corporate boxes than what I saw at Allegiant Stadium. You think of gold class, times it by 100. It was fantastic. It was amazing. So, let's hope there's a music star that we might recognise, not one of those stupid ones that Charlie follows, that no one would know who they are. So we need some real fame there. Some fame.
Dave, get to Vegas. Yeah. Get to Vegas,
Get to Vegas. Come on. Hobbit knows Uberless cab or driverless Uber cabs and all those sorts of things. We need all that sort of stuff.
Did you do that? Did you do that, Dave?
Yeah.
I didn't get around to it, Matty.
And get one of those photos with the showgirls in the strip there. Get one of those photos. Spend 25 American for that. Good on you, David. You're doing a great job. Any advice to finish?
Go well, boys.
Nice. David Riccio right here from the Telegraph on Breakfast with Vossy and Matty Russell this morning here on the Home of Sport 1170 SEN. It's Tuesday morning.